I'm present. I'm not distracted anymore. Today, I know that I attract the good things in my life. And if there's anything bad that's happening, I know how to work on that. It's magical. It is. And I'm very, very grateful.
Is it humanly possible to go from having panic attacks and anxiety, being frozen with fear, having such low self-confidence that you're unable to take credit for your work, and absolutely, completely second-guessing yourself all the time, to go from that to being the highest performer at work, being the most confident version of yourself ever, and having people naturally attracted towards you? All of that in 4 weeks? Boys and girls, today's video is with Sana Malik. Sana is a client of mine. She's in management in a consulting company, and she was going through all of this. She went from that to taking complete charge and control of her life, going from being very negative to being very positive and living her life to the fullest. That's the interview for today. I hope you enjoy it. Hi, Sana. How are you doing today?
Hello. Hi. Good morning. I'm doing very well. Thank you very much.
So, Sana, let's just jump into it. Why don't you start by introducing yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you so much for such an interesting introduction. That was really nice of you. So my name is Sana Malik. I'm currently connected from Dubai. I've been living here since 2014. I work for a company called Franklin Covey, which is a management consultancy firm. And I'm working with them in the capacity of a project manager. And yeah.
Okay, cool. So, Sana, you've been a member of my coaching program and you've had fabulous, astounding results in just a few weeks. You were just shy of a month when you started telling me about all the crazy stuff that you were doing. So let's step back, right? What was the problem you had prior to joining my program?
All right. I've heard people said when you ask this question, where do I start off from? And there's so many different problems, and I think I now feel them. So there's a whole lot of them, but I'll try tell you a few. So I think when I connected with you back in September, I think that was 2 months ago. That was a point where I thought that I'm at a point in my life where I'm so low and I've hit rock bottom to an extent that it just can't get worse than that. What were some of the issues? I was consistently anxious, and I was constantly in a state of anxiety. Regardless of where I was, what I was doing, there was never a feeling where I could actually enjoy myself or actually feel that I was in the moment. I lacked confidence. I doubted myself, my physical appearance, decisions that I took, work that I do. I was always second guessing myself, doubting myself. Every now and then I'd heard what a panic attack was, but it was only when I'd started experiencing them, it was a state whereas I was just frozen and I couldn't do anything. There were days when I just really couldn't just leave my apartment, go out, do anything at all. And anything good that happened to me, there was always this thing at the back of my mind, something good has happened, but it won't last. And when it didn't last, that's when I would come out and say, see, I said it wouldn't last. And it was that continuous cycle. And I really came at a point where I just couldn't take it anymore. And I was like, okay, I've got to do something about it.
Totally. I completely understand. That's where a lot of people find themselves. That's where I found myself about a little more than a decade ago, right? Just continuously doubting myself, continuously second guessing even the successes. So when you were in that situation, why did you choose to join my program specifically over all the other offerings in the market?
Well, I had been considering therapy for a while, as I think most of us do, because we really, really want to do something about it. I come from an industry where we kind of teach stuff like the inside out approach, and we talk about mental health and all of that. And I knew that was important. 2020 with COVID and everything, it just aggravated everything for us personally, professionally, and everything otherwise as well. So there were issues before 2020, and when this pandemic hit, everything just magnified. I knew I had to do something, and a friend of mine, she introduced me to your page, and she was like, listen, I can't tell you what to do, and I don't want to tell you what to do, but just see if this resonates with you, just see if this makes sense to you. And I was a silent observer on your page for months, I think 2 months, 3 months. And I used to watch your videos, and I used to watch, I actually read all the comments that people used to leave. And it made sense to me. And I felt after a very long time, okay, if this is the approach that I take, I wasn't self-doubting and I wasn't questioning myself. A couple of things that stood out for me in your session, in the videos that you made, were that there was a lot of structure. It seemed very doable. It seemed easy, and it seemed simple. Now, when I say easy, I don't mean I didn't realize it wouldn't be difficult to implement. Of course, I knew that, but there's a lot of people out in the market, and they tell you, okay, you have to do this, and you just can't do that because there's just so much to do, and you're already overwhelmed, and you're already under a lot of stress, which is why you're reaching out to people like yourselves, right? And if then people like these, they just make it even more difficult and hard to implement, then it just doesn't work. So for me, what stood out in your program, structure, how organized it was, and then how simple it seemed, simple to actually start. Okay, even if a person like me who doesn't have any background in stuff like this, okay, what should I do? Where do I start? It still felt like something that I could do. And that's why this stood out for me.
Okay, cool. So that's why the program stood out for you. And obviously you've had crazy amounts of success. Now, what made the process of using this program so effective?
Right. Simple is the word I'd use for it. Structured is the word I use for it. You know me pretty well by now. If I don't have everything in the order, and if it's not structured and there's no system behind it, there's nothing I can do. I have lists of lists of lists, and that's how I function, right? One of the things that I loved when I actually started the program was, so we start with the technique, right? We start with something, and there's a continuous repetition of it. You have to do it again and again and again till it becomes ingrained in your brain, in your mind, and it becomes a habit. Like we all know that it takes 21 days to form a habit, and this was the first time I actually put this into practice, and it seemed to be working. When we introduce a second step or a third step or a fourth step or an additional step to whatever we were doing, we wouldn't stop the first initial thing that we were doing. It would transform into something else, and then you were still doing it, and you were still practicing something that you had learned from day one, week one. We're all very busy, that's another thing that I noticed in your program, that I saw a lot of doctors and professionals and mothers of children and people who seem to be very, very busy, and I knew that I have a very busy lifestyle as well. So the concept of baby steps and really taking it slow and one thing at a time was something that really stood out, and it's incorporated in your entire program. Another thing that I think it made it really easy for me, and it was why your program was so effective, was so there is a lot of work that we have to do ourselves, right? And it's not easy. And had you not had that follow-up process, and had we not had those regular conversations or those regular touch bases where I'd get a message of, hi, how are you doing? Can we talk? And then we used to speak. You were never in a hurry. I remember our calls would go even beyond an hour and a half, 2 hours and all of that. And it wasn't as if you were the one who was always telling me. It was a very interactive conversation, a very safe environment. A lot of people who know me know that I'm a very, very private person. And for me to be able to express myself and point out, acha, this is the exact issue, is very, very hard. But it's a very safe environment. There's no judgment. So it's basically, but my favorite thing is the continuous practice and the continuous repetition, where it just makes it a habit.
Yeah.
It just makes it a habit. And I think there was once that I was talking to you and telling you, okay, we start our day with a specific thing, right? And we end our day with a specific thing, be it an exercise, be it whatever we have to do. So when you start your day very strong, and when you end your day very strong, so how is it possible, okay, the entire day or whatever's happening, it's not going to be positive. Yeah, you're not going to be present or mindful. So yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm big on structure and I'm big on habits, and I yell and scream that in my videos. So I sure as hell make sure that the people who work with me work based on structure and habit. So that's pretty cool. And thank you for that. Now, as a result of implementing the program, What was the outcome?
Just like the list of the problems was very long, I think the list of the outcomes is quite long as well. And I think you can't, some of them are very obvious and in your face, and some of them are not. And you realize them when a situation happens. And then some of them are when people actually come and point out something for you. Okay, what are you doing? Yeah, what's happening? Why is this so different? Why is that so different? You're like, okay, something's working. I said to you, I told you, okay, I'm never in the moment. I'm never enjoying myself. So now I'm present. Even when I'm doing this session, I'm present. I'm here, all of it, right? So that I'm not distracted anymore. Not distracted anymore. Whatever I'm doing, I'm actually doing it. If I'm sitting with a friend, if I'm sitting with family, if I'm speaking to someone, if I'm having discussions around work or anything else, they're very productive and they're very focused. And previously what had used to happen was that I used to have small pockets of times when I could focus, but there were very specific number of hours, a specific number of hours during the day. Just I could focus and I could do what I wanted, but now the pockets are much more, they're longer, and you get much more done during that. For other people who know me, I used to have a really bad temper, and I think I told you about that as well. I could get very angry very quickly, and that doesn't happen to me anymore. I don't get angry. I don't get upset very easily. It has to be a really, really big thing for me to get upset. And for me, I think that's really huge. Another thing that I think we subconsciously do and we don't understand, that whoever the person is in front of us, we kind of mirror their behavior or their attitude. We're not going to leave that conversation without telling that person, "Acha, tumne ye kiya hai, to aisi ki taisi," if I could say that. Lekin ab ye hai ki, I've had a few instances in the past few weeks where people can be very mean and very rude, and they can say whatever and not care how it makes you feel. And rather than spending days in bed, like, I should have said this and I should have said that, or I now am in the moment, very present. I can take a step back and see, okay, what is this person saying, and is it even worth reacting? And I don't react. I don't react. I react. Yeah, I say what I want to say, and I'm not mirroring anyone's attitude or anyone's behavior. I've had issues in the recent past where my confidence was so low. Okay, even if it was work, and it was my project, it was something that I had done, I wasn't able to present it. I wasn't able to talk about it. I couldn't take the credit that I deserved, and I just didn't know why this was happening. And now I can talk, I can communicate, not just with people one-on-one, actually larger groups of people. Me actually sitting here and doing this interview, knowing that a lot of people are watching, is an example of that. I don't think I would have been ever able to do that. I would have been so nervous. I don't doubt myself. That's another thing. We spoke about energy a lot. I remember that. I heard about energy. I knew about energy. I had never experienced energy. Maybe I had, but it was all negative, and I never knew what to do about it. But that shift of energy that you feel yourself and that you feel with people around you, their reaction, the way they speak to you, the way they act around you, the way they want to be with you, the way they want to absorb that energy that you're exuding, it is magical. And I think it's the coolest thing I've ever experienced. And I have you to thank that for.
My pleasure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Energy is everything. Absolutely. It totally is. So these are some pretty powerful things that you've talked about right now, and just in 4 to 5 weeks. Now, because these powerful things have happened, how has your life changed since this?
Oh God, completely. Completely. I think the ability to be able to enjoy everything that you're doing, be it from having that focus where when you're praying, you're actually in that moment to enjoying that cup of tea that you're having, to enjoying that conversation that you're having, to being just by yourself and enjoying that time, uh, not feeling lonely, being with people, not for the sake of being with people, but actually because there's something to do. That, and I think that's very powerful. A lot of us, regardless of the fact that we're in relationships or we're not, we're very lonely and we're very scared and ashamed to accept that. I wasn't. I never was. Uh, but now I know that when I'm with friends, when I'm with family, when I'm with people, I'm there because I want to be, not because I have to be. And that's been very powerful for me. Um, Having said that, I just wanted to point out that, we all keep saying all the good things that have happened to us, and I want to keep it very, very real. I do. And all the times that I message you and I call you and I tell you, oh my God, whatever has happened, whatever's not happened. So the challenges are still there. But the ability to know what to do whenever something is happening is absolutely magnificent. It's beautiful. कि अभी आप you've woken up in the morning and energy level वो नहीं है. कि थोड़ी anxiety हो रही है. But you're able to follow a technique or talk to you about it or discuss it or do something about it and stop it there, rather than let it grow to a level ke wo full blown depression ya panic attack mein ho jaye, and then it takes days or weeks to overcome. So I think that awareness and that realization is also very powerful, and I didn't have that. I didn't have the ability to control what was happening to me. I do a lot less work and I'm much more productive. Previously, I used to do a lot of work, and I used to work in the evenings and all of that as well. I don't anymore. I mistakes to nahi, but you had to do 3 or 4 attempts to make sure that a process was right or something was right and something was just perfect. Being a perfectionist, I just wanted everything to be perfect. But now, I know that even in the first or the second attempt, I know what I'm saying and I know the process that I've put in is right and it works. So there are lesser mistakes at work. I was a pushover. I would say yes to any plan that was being made with friends. They never knew that. As in when mujhe decision nahi lena hota to what do I want to eat or where do I want to go, I just make sure that I never took these decisions. Why would I create situations myself jahan pe mujhe apne aap ko doubt karna pade? So I would let everyone else take a lot of decisions for me, and then I used to be very unhappy about it. Well, that doesn't happen anymore. So I know what I want. I'm not a pushover. I know boundaries. I know when to say no. I know how to say it very nicely without being angry. So I know how to do that. I was always unhappy because I never thought I was spending my time effectively. Never. I always thought I was running from one thing to another, from one place to another place. And now I know how to utilize my time more effectively. I know how to be more productive with my time. And I know when I need to be with someone to spend that time and when I need to be by myself, because I have to do some self-work as well to make sure that I'm ready for whatever's coming next. There was a thing that you used to say, and I never believed that in the beginning, which was like, you have to believe that you attract success. You have to believe that you attract the good things that happen to you. And me being the negative Nelly and having all that doubts in my mind saying everything bad happens to me because of me, because I'm cursed, because I just can't ever attract something good, or karungi bhi to it won't just ever stay. I actually believe sitting here right now that the good things that happen to me happen because I have this attitude of gratitude, and I'm attracting that. And I'm not proud, Yani. I'm very humble. I'm very grateful. I'm very grounded, but I do attract the good things that happen to me. And so that's huge for me. There were a lot of different things that I was stuck in financially, which made it very, very hard to kind of go through each day. And only over the past few weeks, those things have either resolved. Some of them have either resolved, and some of them are on the way to getting resolved, which is absolutely huge for me. Otherwise, I would have been stuck in some issues for years and not know how to do or what to do about that. And they just started resolving themselves, which was huge for me. I did tell you as well that I have a beautiful, amazing mom who appreciates everything. But I have a polar opposite dad who is very, very hard to please, very hard to please. And I've always tried, I was very self-critical because I did try to please him. And now, without doing anything, we have conversations where he tells me that he's proud of me. And I really enjoy that. And I've been talking for a very long time. So I'll just end on this note. Um, right now, sitting here, being 5-6 weeks down your program, and I'm saying this for people who have any sort of doubts for themselves, because I was there as well. Today, I know that I attract the good things in my life. And if there's anything bad that's happening, I know how to work on that. So to have that kind of structure and that kind of information is magical. It is. And I'm very, very grateful.
I hope you enjoyed the interview. I hope it inspired you. I hope it gave you hope for your lives to take control and command of your lives. I'm going to link another interview right here of another person who did exactly the same. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.